This is the Bates Bobcast, our weekly podcast where we take a look at the week that was in Bates athletics. My name is Aaron Morse, and this week we begin our class of 2021 senior salutes with the volleyball program. Hear from the senior captains and head coach Melissa DeRan coming up on the Bates Bobcast. With this past fall's sports season canceled due to COVID-19, we begin our class of 2021 senior salutes with the Bates Volleyball program. Angel Echipue, Ruby Lightbourn, Delaney Mayfield, and Olivia McCulloch are the four senior captains this year. In 2019, Echipue was the only Bobcat on the season to play in every match and every set as well. A middle hitter, she finished 8th in the NESCAC in hitting percentage and tied for 10th in the NESCAC in blocks per set. In fact, Echipue led Bates in blocks per set every season during her career. A three-time NESCAC All-Academic selection, Ruby Lightbourn ranked 2nd in the NESCAC in service aces per set in 2019. She also ranked 2nd on the team and 10th in the conference in digs per set. Like Echipue, Lightbourn made an impact from day one, ranking 3rd on the team in kills per set when she was a first year. Delaney Mayfield, combined with Echipue, made for a solid 1-2 punch at middle hitter for Bates. During her junior season, Mayfield ranked 2nd to Echipue in blocks per set while playing in every match for the Bobcats. A three-time NESCAC All-Academic selection, Olivia McCulloch was also named to the NESCAC All-Sportsmanship team in 2019. It was a breakout year for McCulloch as she saw action in 25 matches after only playing in 20 combined matches her first 2 seasons as a Bobcat. An outside hitter, McCulloch averaged 1.84 kills per set and 3.12 digs per set in 2019. Mayfield had a work conflict, but we hopped on a Zoom call with Echipue, Lightbourn, and McCulloch to look back on their careers as Bobcats. Angel, let's start with you. We talked in the fall a little bit. You were practicing outside there at Garcelon Field to start. You eventually got into alumni gym. I mean, as senior leader on this team, what was the fall session kind of like for you in terms of, helping the program grow for the future?
So it definitely was a big change, especially working outside on Garcelon at the beginning. We focused on a lot of strength and speed. And then once we moved back into the gym, since we were in smaller groups, we focused a lot on technique, which I think will be very helpful in the coming up season.
Certainly. And Ruby, you and Angel knew each other in high school, play on the same club team. What was the process like in terms of the recruiting process? Ended up, take us back, both of you deciding to come to Bates.
Well, actually, back when we both decided to come to Bates, we didn't know that either of us had decided to go to Bates, even though we played on the same team. A lot of people from our team were looking at different NESCACs and stuff. I definitely knew that we were looking at similar schools. But it was kind of a surprise on the day that we got our early acceptances back, and we're like, oh, we both got in and we're both going. But it was very happy and very exciting. And so, yeah, it was fun.
Did you talk at all about your decision-making process? Like what appealed to both of you after you found out you were both going?
Definitely. After we both thought that just like talking to coach and getting to meet the girls on the team and have conversations with them, we definitely thought it was an environment that both of us would thrive in. And I mean, we also liked the location and the different setting from California where we were. So we definitely saw a lot of the same things in it that seemed promising.
And Angel, having played with Ruby in high school, what was it like transitioning to college? I mean, did you have already great chemistry on the court from day one?
Yeah, so it was definitely really nice to know someone going to college, and we also moved in together. So when we were in Lewiston, we kind of like moved in at the same time. It was just nice to have a familiar face, not just on campus, but also then going into the gym and like joining a college volleyball team, because that was very nerve-wracking at the beginning. But since I've known Ruby, it really took a lot of the pressure off, I think.
Great. Liv, tell me a little bit about your process. Take me back to high school about your decision to come to Bates.
Yeah, so I went to a boarding school in Connecticut, and they definitely love NESCACs there. And I knew I always wanted to go to one so that I could still get the great academic experience, but also still hopefully play volleyball. And I was lucky and was able to come and, get to know everyone on the volleyball team and still get to go to a great school and learn a lot.
And then I asked Angel about this, but the fall, what was it like from your perspective, as a senior, trying to help the team as best you could, even without any matches and stuff?
It was definitely an interesting year and challenging to be seniors and trying to lead when everything was so different. But I think, having everyone work really hard, even though everything was so different, and go out and, work out outside and wear masks in the gym, even though it's like uncomfortable, and just everyone really, made this season the best that we could make it. And it was still fun to be able to play with each other for one last year, even though it was non-traditional.
Well, let's take us back to the 3 years you did have matches. I love to ask this question about your most memorable match, perhaps, good or bad, honestly, just looking back. Ruby, we'll start with you. Maybe the most memorable match for you.
I think it would be the Wesleyan game our freshman year, or was it Bowdoin our sophomore year? Mm-hmm. One of those two matches, because, I feel like we were definitely underdogs in both of them, and we won both of those, and felt just like total grinding it out wins where we all played as a team. And like those matches stick out in my mind a little more than the other ones and stuff, just because like they were fights till the finish. And like, yeah, I can remember the feeling of like being on the court, trying not to like vomit from adrenaline, but like also just wanting to like win it for your team and for your teammates and for the program and what it means and stuff. And then afterwards, like the feeling of pulling off a huge upset, obviously, is just like electric, I think. So,
Angel, it sounds like you concur with that in terms of memorable matches.
Yes, I would definitely agree with that. For me, it's definitely the Wesleyan game our freshman year, because for Ruby and I, it was a little bit more personal because two of our club teammates are playing on the Wesleyan team. So it was the pair of them going to Wesleyan and the two of us going to Bates. And so it was just really fun because we all worked so hard, and it was just a really fun win overall.
Liv, how about for you in terms of most memorable matches? Similar?
Mine actually was last season. Amherst was our first home NESCAC game, and I was just kind of getting to play, and I remember we actually lost this game, but it was so fun. It was so close. It went to 5, and it was a really memorable experience for me.
Angel, tell me a big experience of playing in an alumni gym for volleyball. I often ask basketball players about it. They know the court changed midway through your time here, but how is it for volleyball?
I definitely think alumni. So from the beginning, we've all always loved alumni because yes, it's a small space, but it kind of creates this like atmosphere that really can't be replicated. It's so fun when the gym is full and we have games and you can hear your friends cheering on the bleachers. And so the change of the floor was definitely very nice because we weren't sliding left and right. Yes, we were definitely had more grip, but overall, I think alumni has always had like this really fun atmosphere to it. And especially since Bates is such a small school and like we kind of all know of one another, it's always nice to see people in the bleachers and recognize their faces.
Great. Now we have 3 of the senior captains with us. Delaney Mayfield had a conflict, so she couldn't be here, but I want you to maybe talk a little bit about Delaney so she can listen later in terms of what she's meant to this group.
Yeah, I know for me, like we came in, the 4 of us freshman year, and immediately clicked and we're best friends from day one. And that's something that we'll never forget. I remember we had sort of like a preseason our freshman year, and Delaney and I, the first day, we're like put in a bed together and we're like immediately told be friends, and the rest is history. But she definitely has a big impact in our program, and it's a bummer we didn't get to have a final season with each other as seniors, but it's been fun for the last 3 years for sure.
And she's a middle hitter just like you, Angel, right?
Yes, so she used to be a right side hitter, but then she transitioned to the middle, I believe our sophomore or junior year.
So what was it like working together with her in practice then?
Yeah, I think it was definitely really fun just because Delaney and I were also roommates. And I think sophomore year when we became roommates is when she moved to the middle position. So I just thought it was really fun that we lived together, but we also play the same position.
Ruby, how have you seen the program develop kind of since you were a first year here?
I think it's developed a lot. When we first came in, there were a few upperclassmen that kind of showed us the way and wanted to leave their impact on the team. And I think it's been interesting watching the way that our team has adapted and changed since then, and the way that we've taken on leadership roles and decided to like change certain aspects, like a natural evolution that I think is only like to be expected as teams go on. I think that it's just a great group of people and individuals who care a lot about each other, and to watch us all grow together, like in the sport, watch us all improve on our technique and our training and everything get stronger together has been really, really fun to watch. I think we've gotten better every season, and I think that they're definitely going to continue to keep getting better even once we're gone.
Liv, the years kind of blend together. I think it was last year, though. Didn't you have a clip go viral on the Bates Volleyball Instagram? Tell me a little bit about that play.
Yes, it was one of our games. I believe it was against Connecticut College, and I accidentally ran over a ref and knocked him to the ground.
It wasn't an accident. He didn't get out of the way, and she was pursuing the ball like she should have been. It was perfect. 110% effort.
Tell me a little bit about Melissa DeRan as a head coach. What that experience been like working with her over the 4 years?
Yeah, so I definitely think coach has had a huge impact on all of our college experiences. I really like that she's not just like our coach on the court, but I also feel comfortable going up to her if I have any questions about maybe academics or being stressed, balancing both athletics and academics. So I think she's been very, very influential, not just within our athletic experience, but also our college experience overall.
Great. How about for you, Ruby?
I think that coach has definitely been one of like the biggest role models for me in the last few years, to see a really powerful, in charge, intelligent woman leading a program like our Bates volleyball program is pretty cool to watch. It sets a really good example for us, I think, of how to treat people and how to respect people. She always does that. And yeah, I'm just very grateful for all the things that she's taught us over the years, and the I guess the path that she's kind of carved for all of us to do whatever we want and be successful, like being our own individual selves and not compromising on any of anything that makes our individual personalities important to us.
Liv, how about for you?
Yeah, coach is such an amazing person. I mean, both, being a great coach on the court, but also having us over for dinner and having that other side of it as well. She's a great person to talk to and ask questions to. She's always looking out for us and having meetings, making sure we're doing okay since freshman year. And she's just such an athlete, such a beast. And I know I do, and we all look up to her so much.
Totally, yes.
This is an odd time in our history, I suppose. I can't even imagine trying to look at the job market right now. But I mean, just in terms of immediate future plans, anyone want to share?
Hoping to live in Boston and stay in touch with these two, with everyone from Bates, and yeah, just trying to navigate the transition, especially during COVID. It will be interesting.
And Angel, your thoughts? I mean, you're originally from Germany, right? So you plan to go back there, stay here?
Yes, I'm hoping to go back to Munich and then do my master's degree there.
Nice. How about you, Ruby?
Still figuring things out a little bit. I'm definitely going to go home to Los Angeles, try to spend time with my family during COVID, obviously, and look for opportunities there. But no set plans so far.
And then I guess maybe some lessons you've taken away from your time as volleyball players. I mean, in terms of how you've seen yourself grow within the sport, I guess. Olivia, if you want to start.
Yeah, I mean, volleyball has taught me so much, especially at Bates, coming in and, not seeing the court very much for the first 2 years, and then, just learning how to work hard and to lead, even if you're on the sidelines. And then having that pay off and get to play last year was really incredible, and getting to make such amazing friends from it along the way. I couldn't be more grateful for being on the volleyball team here at Bates.
Angel, what lessons have you taken away, kind of?
Yeah, so I definitely agree with Liv. I think I also learned a lot about balancing my schedule. So I remember freshman year, I mean, of course, we've always kind of been used to having to balance academics and athletics because we all played club volleyball and high school volleyball before this. But playing as a college athlete is just a whole nother level. And I think it's really taught me how to manage my time well enough to focus both on my academics, but also on extracurriculars, on volleyball, but also not being too overwhelmed by it all. And so I think that's really been a big impact on my college experience.
How about you, Ruby?
I think one of the biggest takeaways that I've learned from like being in this program is that sure, you can like try things by yourself and just try to push through only doing it like for yourself and with yourself, but it's a lot easier when you have a team at your side and a lot of people who love and support you. I guess just the thing I'm learning being like to use your support system and use the people that you have available to help make you better, because you're only gonna get so much better from yourself and reflecting on your own on what you can do, but like with other people there, you can do so much more. So,
you know, earlier we were talking about memorable matches. I was just remembering this 2019, Liv, you mentioned how that was a breakthrough year for you. I think I remember the breakthrough match, Southern Maine. At Southern Maine, you had 10 service aces. I remember I was there, I was getting footage of the team, and I was like, who's this woman getting all these service aces? It was you. Tell me about that match in particular. Did you feel that as kind of a breakthrough for you?
Yeah, it was really fun to get on the court, and, you know, serving is one of those skills that it's only you up there. So getting to get up there and serve some aces in one of the first games I was getting some playing time in was really exciting and definitely boosted my confidence as the season went on.
For those who don't know, what's the key in terms of serving? What are you looking to do? Are you looking at how they're set up in terms of their formation, or like how are you doing that from your perspective to try to sneak one by them, if you will?
Yeah, well, coach usually gives us a spot to serve to, which is really helpful. And then from there, you know, everyone has our own little routine before we serve to get in the right headspace and just try and get it to the spot that coach gives us. And more often than not, we can be successful if we follow her guidance.
Awesome. Well, any other final thoughts from each of you about your time at Bates that we haven't gone to talk about? Angel, we can start with you.
I mean, I think for me, the biggest thing that I'm going to take away from my college experience, but also just my athletic experience, is the people that I've met. I know that the people on the team, but also like we're going to stay in contact for the rest of my life. And I think just the friendships I've made throughout my athletic experience have been so impactful, not just on my college experience, but will be for the rest of my life.
Olivia, how about for you? Final thoughts?
Yeah, I completely agree. The friendships I've made from our own class to the seniors when we were freshmen, and the freshmen now that we're seniors, even still, like we are able to make these deep connections, and I'll cherish them forever.
Ruby?
I think that, I mean, just echoing what they said, it's about the people, and it's just an experience that I'm very grateful for and would never give back or trade. And even like with this last year not going how we would have wanted it to be, I still like have no regrets with our team or anything. Like I think we're exactly like where we're supposed to be and doing what we're supposed to be doing. Yeah, I'm really proud of us, and I'm just going to be watching a lot of Bates volleyball games in the future, I think, from my computer.
Yep.
Awesome. Angel Echipue, Olivia McCulloch, Ruby Lightbourn, thank you so much for joining us on the Bobcast. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In 2019, head coach Melissa DeRan led the volleyball program to its most wins in 10 years. She says she could not have done it without these 4 seniors.
I'm so proud of this group. I am so proud of this group. I will also say I am deeply humbled by this group. There were multiple occasions this fall where I was trying to sit back and think and wonder, if it were me in my senior year, would I be handling this as well as they are? And the answer was always no. You know, they just, and I keep going back to the word, I couldn't be any more proud of them. They were amazing, and they've been amazing. They've been amazing for 4 years. They have been a huge group who've contributed on the court, off the court. To see them kind of come up and through the time and grow so much, and then to just kind of see that, you know, stunted it was hard. It was hard. But no, they've been an amazing group of 4. Like I said, there's this on-court contribution, but then there's this real off-court kind of forming our program and what our program's about. And they've just been such big parts of sculpting our identity. It's hard. In the time we have this podcast, I can't say enough about these four.
Individually, what stands out about each of them? Let's start with Angel Echipue, a middle hitter from Munich, Germany, went to high school in California, and then came here to Bates.
Yeah, Angel, she might be one of the kindest, most genuine human beings I know. She is an amazing volleyball player, and I was really excited for her senior year. I felt like we have kind of finally unlocked the key, and I felt like she was going to be a major factor in the NESCAC. But just from a human standpoint, she's so sincere, and she's so, again, genuine. I'm going to miss her just a lot, not necessarily the loudest leader in the group, but definitely listened to and very much respected, because when Angel had something to say, everyone listened, and just, worked so hard. She, and I'll say Delaney too, my middles, they every day for 4 years had to not just get through games, but the practices that they had to go through, and have just been, I think, great examples of what quiet work ethic is all about.
And then Ruby Lightbourn, an outside hitter from California. What has she meant to the program?
Oh, geez. Ruby, I'm going to say this, and I don't want this to sound bad. Like, if you just look at Rube, she's a little undersized. You don't really see her as a starting outside hitter in a collegiate program. She's not the highest jumper. She's not. But once you put her on a court, it's amazing. Ruby has it, and coaches were always trying to quantify whatever it is, and that's really hard, but Ruby has it. And we are a very different team when Ruby is not on the floor. And I don't know what that is. There's just this intangible thing that she can do to bring out the best in those around her. She's such a connector. So for Ruby, again, she has just outplayed so many people who maybe are a little taller, a little stronger, whatever, but I can't keep Ruby off the court. And I'm not quite sure what we're going to do next year without her.
And then you touched on Delaney Mayfield, also a middle hitter, just like Angel Echipue. Angel mentioned that Delaney became a middle hitter kind of halfway through her time here, and they were roommates, and so that worked out well. Tell me a little bit about Delaney's development.
Delaney has done anything I've asked her to do. So she was a middle, and then I put her on the right side for 2 years. Then I moved her back in the middle, and she did some middle in practice, and then did some right side in practice. And whatever I needed from her, she was just happy to do it. And what I think with Delaney that I don't think everybody quite realizes how tough Delaney is. She just always has a smiler on her face, and she's always kind of upbeat. And even when she's having a down day, she's still like bubbly and things like that. And there's been times where I've been, hey, Delaney, we're going to do this warm-up drill, and I want you to, use something with your hands. And she's like, okay, coach, I just wanted to let you know that I just broke my third finger. And so maybe I just won't be able to do drill as well as I should, but I'm going to really try. I'm like, no, Dee, you don't have to do this warm-up. We'll find something else. But she was just, that kid she went through a lot of physical stuff, and just slapped a smile on her face and kept on marching and never looked back. So again, what I said initially, I don't think everybody appreciates necessarily how tough Delaney Mayfield is.
And then Olivia McCulloch, she mentioned how she really had to, she finally earned a lot of playing time last season and made the most of it. Also had a moment go viral on the Bates Volleyball Instagram. So
our little celebrity.
A strong season there. Tell me a little bit more about what she's meant.
My heart breaks for all four in different ways, but Liv's a tough one. She just grinded and worked and was so selfless and just kept putting her head down and doing the work. And she gets to her junior year, and it reminds me so much kind of my own arc as a player. So I have I feel something special for Liv, and saw the court and started doing really well, and just had finally seen all her hard work come to fruition. And it was amazing. And, an injury sidelined her a little bit. It took a little while to get her back on that path. But again, to have that halted so abruptly, to not be able to really kind of finish through that senior year, it's tough. So.
And then how do you see their leadership on display this fall a little bit? I mean, in terms of developing the program for the future, even though they knew they wouldn't have any matches.
Yeah. And I think, again, it goes back to what I said at the beginning. I am so humbled by that. We never, not that I recall, had a conversation about this is what I need from you. They took the reins. Like after our first team meeting, I got done talking. They're like, okay, coach, you can go now. We'll take care of the rest. It's like, oh, okay. They took control immediately and demonstrated to everybody, this is how you deal with adversity. They were the prototype. And not just the adversity of not playing, there was adversity that kept coming up through the season. For the first few weeks, we didn't get to necessarily do the drills that we wanted to do. And they still came in every day and embraced that. There was always kind of this hope that we might play a couple games late. And then that obviously came to fruition that was not possible. So they dealt with that little blow. Our senior parents worked really hard to give them kind of the senior send off. And then some COVID cases hit campus and they couldn't do it. And so there was that blow. And then we had kind of the senior day stuff planned and then we couldn't do it. And there was that, it was just a constant kind of letdown, and they kept taking those punches, and they would take a second and take deep breaths and be like, okay, we have to kind of keep moving forward and marching forward. I think they realized that the underclassmen were watching them so closely that there was an example that had to be set. And again, I think that those 4 hit a home run with it. Could not have done any better about setting the example of this is exactly how you deal with adversity in the best way possible.
And then I asked them the same question about memorable matches for them. They mentioned a win over Wesleyan when they were first years, and I think they also mentioned a win over Bowdoin there. Is that the same for you, or there's some other matches that really stand out?
Goodness, that's a good question. Certainly Westland, certainly Bowdoin, we had beat Middlebury on a senior day. Same week we had beaten, actually there was a week there where we had beaten Bowdoin, and then we had beaten Westland, and then we had beaten Middlebury. And so we had gone into the conference tournament on just this amazing high, and really battled with Middlebury really tight. I think we lost by a total of 8 points, and that was the year Middlebury went on to win the tournament. So I definitely remember kind of those matches with them. I think and I'm happy that they think about that, but as a coach, I will tell you, so many of my memories are from practices, are from road trips, are from, even them being at my house. I think I like my children being around them, because if my daughter grows up to be like any one of those 4, I'm going to be so lucky. And just kind of those interactions certainly stick out in my head as much, if not more, than a particular game necessarily. Although I will say, Liv taking out that official, that was pretty good.
For sure. Have you ever seen something like that in a volleyball match before?
I've never seen it. And she did it he did not get out of the way, and she did it so textbook, and then was so worried about him. But the fact that so many people watched that and trended that was, again, Liv deserves a little celebrity recognition. So.
Well, anything else you want to discuss about the 4 seniors we haven't gotten to talk about yet?
Erin, I don't know that there are words in my vocabulary to do justice to these 4. and what they've meant to our program, what they've meant to me professionally and personally. Certainly it's hard for all the classes for different reasons, certainly first years, especially too. But for our seniors and for these four in particular, who've just have done every single thing I have asked of them for 4 years, it's hard to have it end this way. So, we're continuing to look at ways to honor them. We're looking at ways to honor them now in the future for, they're going to help me in the spring with, things in our program, kind of off the court stuff. And like, there's still lots of work for them to do to leave their imprint on our program. And I look forward to engaging them with that. But yeah, it's hard to come up with the words to do justice to this group. They are a special group of volleyball players. They are a special group of human beings. And I've told every single potential student athlete recruit that we have coming in, you're not just filling volleyball shoes, you're filling human shoes. And that's going to be the bigger task that you have, is to fill the humanity that we're losing, the character that we're losing.
All right, Melissa DeRan, thank you so much for joining us on the Bobcast.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Next time on the Bates Bobcast, we'll either be continuing our senior salutes or we may have a surprise guest. Find out in 1 week on the Bates Bobcast.